Okay, we are gonna go ahead and do this one real quick. My dog is making lots of noise. Okay, so this is problem number 20 on that practice test that we had talked about. So they give us this function. It's a quartic function. H of x equals x to the fourth plus 2x cubed plus x squared plus 12x plus 20. It's very long. So typing it into my graphing calculator, I'm gonna hit graph. This is not what I want. So I need to change the window. So this one should show up in just a basic 10 by 10 window. Come on, you can do it. There we go. All right, so my x-min is gonna be negative 10, 10, 10. All right, we got negative 10 and 10 again. All right, we should be able to get this one. So what we're looking for are any x-intercepts. Okay, so it looks like we have an x-intercept at negative 2, and it has a multiplicity of 2 because you notice it's bouncing off of the x-axis there. So what we are going to do is make note of that. So the first question is find all real zeros. So the real zeros are x-intercepts. Okay, so the only place it touches the x-axis is negative 2, but that counts for 2 zeros. It has a multiplicity of 2. So we're going to say x equals negative 2 with a multiplicity of 2. Then it asks us to find the remaining zeros. This is kind of tricky because on the graph, there are no other zeros that show up. So we know that they are going to have to be imaginary zeros. So we're going to say other zeros. Cranky dog. Okay, so the last part is writing the equation in factored form. So h of x equals, well, if I write this in factored form, if I just start this, I know there's a 0 at negative 2, so I know that x plus 2 is a factor. I know that x plus 2 squared is a part of this because negative 2 is a 0 that has a multiplicity of 2. So I'm going to use this to help me find the rest of the zeros. So the way that this works, we are going to use what we learned going into this test week, okay, the end of last week. We are going to use polynomial long division. So I know that this right here is going to go into this function evenly. Because if I were to multiply x plus 2 squared times something, it would give me this expanded version of the function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take x plus 2 squared, and I'm going to write it out as in standard form. So I'm just going to go x squared plus 4x plus 4, because this is x times 2, 2 times x, 2 times 2. So when I expand it, when I multiply it out, I get this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use polynomial long division to figure out what I multiply by to get this factor here, or to get this polynomial. So I have x to the fourth plus 2x cubed plus x squared plus 12x plus 20. And I'm just looking at the x squared here. So x squared times x squared would give me x to the fourth. So I have x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. X squared times 4x is 4x cubed. X squared times 4 is 4x squared. Then I subtract. So this goes away. Then I have negative 2x cubed. And then I have negative 3x squared. And I'm bringing down that plus 12x. Then I'm like, x squared times what gives me negative 2x cubed? Well, that would be negative 2x. So negative 2x times x squared is negative 2x cubed. Negative 2x times 4x is negative 8x squared. Negative 2x times 4 is negative 8x. So subtracting, this all goes away right here. And so this gives me a positive 5x squared, because minus minus is a plus. And this is a positive 20x. Bring down the 20. And now x squared times 5 gives me 5x squared. So I have 5x squared plus 20x. It's 4 plus 20. Subtract. I have a remainder of 0. If you don't get a remainder of 0, you did something wrong. Again, this goes evenly into this. There should be no remainder. So what I have is the other piece that I need to find the other zeros. So I have x squared minus 2x minus or plus 5. But this technically isn't factored form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the quadratic formula to figure out what the other two zeros are, because I need that for part B, and I need that to write this in fully factored form. So I'm going to use quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is 1, b is negative 2, c is 5. So let's just go ahead and substitute here. X equals negative 2, so 2 plus or minus negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 all over 2 times 1. Okay, so let's simplify. X equals 2 plus or minus, well, 2 squared is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So 4 minus 20 is 16, so it's negative 16 all over 2. If I go even further, I can do 2 plus or minus, well, the square root of negative 16 is 4i all over 2. These can be divided by 2, so I'm going to do 1 plus or minus 2i. Those are my other two zeros. So x equals 1 plus or minus 2i. So x equals 1 plus 2i and x equals 1 minus 2i. Those are the other two zeros. So writing this in factored form, the final factored form, h of x equals x plus 2 squared, x minus, then in parentheses 1 plus 2i, and x minus 1 minus 2i. That is the fully factored version. It's a lot of steps, but very doable.